Your plants deserve more than a chemical diet. Give them the natural power of nature's living soil, packed with organic amendments and living microbes that feed the soil and fuel growth from the roots up. Stronger plants, bigger yields, better results. Shop natureslivingsoil.com and use code WWPGEN10 to get 10% off today. Nature's Living Soil. Feed the soil. Watch life flourish.
Good day, and welcome to WWP Genetics. We're thrilled that you have joined us for another engaging and educational video. Today, I will be discussing why Nebraska's medical cannabis promise still isn't helping patients. Back in November 2024, Nebraska's voters made their voices loud and clear. They passed not one but two ballot initiatives, Initiative 437 and 438, to legalize medical cannabis across the state. It was a landslide. Over 70% of voters said yes. That's not just a win, it's a mandate. These were designed to let patients with medical conditions legally use cannabis and to create a state-regulated market. But as late 2025, things are going as planned. The rollout has been tangled in political pushback, administrative slowdowns, and restrictive new laws that seem to go against what voters approved. So what happened? Today, we will break down the timeline, the power struggle, of what's next for Nebraska's medical cannabis program. Initiative 437, known as the Patient Protection Act, gave people with qualifying medical conditions the right to use cannabis as recommended by a doctor. Patients could legally possess up to 5 ounces. Initiative 438 set up the system behind it. It created the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission, also known as NMCC. That commission was supposed to license cultivators, processors, and dispensaries so patients could access medicine safely and legally. It was one of the most decisive votes in the state's history, but passing a law and actually putting it into effect are two very different things. By law, the NMCC was supposed to start issuing a license by October 1st, but they missed that deadline. The reason? 2 commissioners suddenly resigned. Turns out Governor Jim Pillen asked for the removal of 2 members who were also part of the Liquor Control Commission. That move disrupted the whole evaluation process. No evaluation means no licenses, and that means no legal cannabis for patients. Just like that, the system was delayed. One patient with chronic pain questioned, "How many times do we have to walk down the same road, begging for our lives?" Here's how the rollout was supposed to go. After the election, results were certified. The NMCC had until July 1st, 2025 to finalize its rules. That covered things like who could apply for licenses and how dispensaries would operate. Then, by October 1st, 2025, those licenses were supposed to start getting issued. On paper, this looked good, like a clear path, rules, licenses, patients. But in practice, it's been anything but smooth. Deadlines were missed, commissioners resigned, and key decisions got caught up in state politics. But it's not just delays. The NMCC passed emergency rules that go against what voters approved. They banned raw plant material, no smoking, no vaping, no edibles. Everything was severely restricted. Voters said yes to cannabis in all forms, but the commission said no to most of them, and they're even capping the number of licenses. Only 4 growers, 4 processors, and 12 dispensaries in the whole state. Advocates say that's not what people voted for. In fact, it completely changes the scale of access. One activist group said, "These rules dismantle what Nebraskans demanded at the ballot box." Imagine you voted to allow full medical cannabis access, and a year later you're told, "Sorry, it's only available in tinctures." And maybe you have to drive 200 miles to find one dispensary. That's the situation Nebraska patients are facing right now. Advocates say this setup kills market access and leaves rural areas out in the cold. It's like building a bridge, then blocking half the lanes. Governor Pillin has voiced skepticism about medical cannabis, and Nebraska's Attorney General Mike Hilgers is challenging the legality of the ballot initiatives. He's even threatened legal actions if licenses are issued. However, in early October 2025, the NMCC issued the first two cultivators' license. It's nearly a week late, but it happened. Still, dispensary licenses haven't been finalized, and it takes nearly a year from seed to shelf before product still reaches patients. That means most Nebraskans won't see medical cannabis available until mid to late 2026. So even though the law says patients can have access, it's not a reality. For many who voted yes, this feels like a promise delayed. And for some patients, it's a delay that could affect their health and quality of life. So now we've got patients waiting, businesses stuck, and state leaders throwing up roadblocks. It's not just slow, it feels strategic. What's happening in Nebraska isn't just a local issue, it's part of a national trend. Across several states, we're seeing the same pattern. Voters approve cannabis reform, but leaders slow it down or narrow it in practice. Nebraska is now a case study in that tug of war between voter will and political control. It's about more than cannabis, it's about democracy. When 70% of voters say yes and the government says not so fast, it raises a big question. Who really has the power to make change? For patients, the answer determines whether they can finally get relief or whether they'll be waiting again and again for years. Here's the bottom line. Passing a law is just the beginning. Implementation is everything. And right now, Nebraska's medical cannabis rollout is a cautionary tale. If you believe patients deserve access to the medicine they voted for, share this video and drop a comment. Let's make sure Nebraska and every state follows through. For patients and the cannabis community, stay connected with groups like Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana. They're fighting to keep the program aligned with voter intent. Things to keep an eye on. When Attorney General's threats to delay cannabis license, make sure the threats are not carried out. And when state lawmakers try to rewrite parts of initiatives, make sure this doesn't happen. For small businesses, prepare your paperwork and expect a long game. The market might be small at first, but it could expand quickly if rules are relaxed. We hope you found today's video educational. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share to stay updated on our latest content. For more exciting insights, be sure to check out our brother channel at WWP Logistics. See you in the next video.